Welcome to Worldbuilding Notes. In this episode, grammar from nothing. Before I started making my first real Conlang, I spent a few years trying to figure out how to get started making one. All advice told me to pick some sounds and make some root words, so I kept picking the sounds and making the root words and then having not the slightest clue about what the next step was supposed to be. How does one even get started creating an entire grammar for a language? How could one translate even a simple sentence like this? I don't know. They could say, it's simple. Just create a word for I, and a word for don't, and a word for no, and there you have it. Easy. Except that it doesn't work like that. Different languages work differently. If you wanted to translate this sentence into Lithuanian, that would be aš nežinau, literally I not know, with the word no conjugated for first person singular present tense. And if you wanted to say this in Japanese, you would say wakaranai, literally no not, with the informal way of expressing not. So if these languages say this simple thing in different ways, then of course my language should have its own way of expressing this entire idea as well. And this is what I eventually came up upon. Just start out by saying it the way a caveman would say it. Not an actual one, but the silly cartoon version of a caveman, the sort that only knows words and does not know any grammar at all. And if I need to translate this sentence without using any grammar, then obviously this don't bit over here is disqualified, because you will not find any wild don'ts roaming in the wilderness. The thing is just pure grammar. So I thought about it for a bit and came up with this. No fail I. I put the main verb first because it just makes sense to me. The verb is the most important part of the sentence. It's the star of the show, it's the thing that holds the sentence together. Of course it should go first. And if I say no fail, then clearly this whole knowing thing is not happening. Failing at something is a pretty real and concrete thing. So I came up with words in my Conlang to match all the words in my caveman translation, and I deliberately made the word for to fail really long and unwieldy. Then the hypothetical native speakers of this language would have to put hoelawo after every verb expressing a thing they are not doing, in sentence after sentence after sentence. It would make sense for it to quickly get ground down to something shorter. And I decided to have that entire hoelawo bit end up looking like this. Eulu. So now, elli eulu means I don't know. And of course, I can make hoela smash into all the other pronouns as well, and end up with a negation particle that inflects for person and number. So now I can say elli enni for you don't know, and elli etlu for they don't know, and so on. Grammar! I have grammar. Isn't it great to have grammar? And of course, it would make sense to have all these pronouns smash into verbs as well, and have verbs that conjugate for person and number. So when saying I know, the verb would be conjugated to be in first person singular. But when saying I don't know, the verb would be left unconjugated, because it was blocked from smashing into the pronoun by hoela. And the negating particle would do the job of indicating person and number. Grammar rules, aren't they the best thing that could possibly exist? So this is the explanation that past me could have really used to hear. But time travel is not possible, and I cannot say anything to my past self, so I'm telling it all to you instead.